Welcome back, Dunlop Clarinets. Okay, I'm on page 9. Excuse me. And I want you to find number 36. It's called A Tisket, a Tasket, which is actually kind of a Easter time song. So we're right on board with that. Right above that, there is a yellow box of information, and I want you to look at that with me. It says pickup notes. And it says one or more notes that come before the first full measure. So you might wonder, okay, what is a full measure? Well, in a tisket a tasket, 4 beats, because it's 4 over 4. And the top number tells us how many beats are in a measure. So if there's anything less than 4 full beats, it's going to be a partial measure. And it says the beats of pickup notes are subtracted from the last measure. So me as a conductor, if we were all together, I might start you on a tisket a tasket by saying 1, 2, 3, because you notice there's one quarter note there all by itself and then a bar line. That's beat 4. That's the pickup. 4, 1, okay? And then a lot of times I get questions. If you look at the very end, the last measure, count up how many beats are there. There's a half note and then a quarter note, right? And so many of you are probably going, well, Mrs. Holloway, that's only 3 beats. Where would the other beat be? That's a partial measure too. Now there's not a repeat sign on a tisket a tasket, but if there were, beat 4 of the last measure would actually be the pickup note at the very beginning again. Okay, so this is a super fun song. Some of you may know this. You may have heard this before. It's kind of a Easter. It's talking about green and yellow baskets. It's kind of a springtime Easter song. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to start playing. So our first note name is, can you say it? And if you said G, you're correct. Good. So we're going to start with open. Remember G, Mom? No hands. Here we go. You ready? A tisket, a tasket. 1, 2, 3. So there's one spot in there that a lot of new players might make a mistake because it's a different pattern than you've done before. And so if you look in the third full measure, the third note and the fourth note, E, which is thumb 1, and then rolling back to the A, top key. So if you find yourself kind of tripping up there, a good way to smooth out fingers when you're having trouble between just 2 notes is not to have to go back and play a whole thing over and over and over again. When you really can play most everything, find the little bitty spots that are giving you trouble and roll just over those notes, and you'll get what we call muscle memory. Then when you go back and play it all the way through, you'll find that you'll get, I always tell my junior high musicians, you get a big bang for your buck. Like you get the job done and you get it done a lot sooner and with a better outcome. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to play E to A, because that's kind of a new one for us. Change my rhythms around just to have some fun with it, and just to, in a relaxing way and not to frustrate myself, to just take that little spot. You know, if you knew all the answers on an upcoming test, but there was 2 things that you kept forgetting, you'd probably concentrate on those 2 things, right? Because you're like, okay, I know all that other stuff. I don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to concentrate on what I don't know. And that's what we do also as musicians. That's good practicing when you do that. Okay, so let's go on. We've done a tisket, a tasket. Now we're going to go down and we're going to do number 38. And this is going to be the last one for this week because everybody's going on break. So I'd like you to just play 2. But this is a big one. This is exciting. So number 38 is Jingle Bells. I know, it's kind of weird that we're playing Jingle Bells in March. But hopefully we won't jinx ourselves with any more ice or weird snow. So everything here is actually fairly easy. There's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of repeating notes. Where we get the most movement is measure 3. Check it out. Okay, so our note names are E, then G, then C, then D, then E. And I'm telling you what, you practice just that measure a few times and then you go back, you're going to storm through this song because you'll find the rest of it is actually quite simple for you. Okay, so let's concentrate on the 3rd measure. All right, so E, G, and we're going all the way down to C. And then up by the scale, D, E. This is our Jingle All the Way part of the song. So let's try it. Ready? Begin. And so you'll probably go, well, Miss Holloway, the last part of that I got. That's okay. It's the EGC. And I'll say, you're right. It is the EGC. That's a lot of jumping around. So let's just mess with that a little bit. EGC. You notice I started slow because I gave my fingers a chance to get where they need to go. Be careful not to practice too fast, too soon. It only frustrates you and it really doesn't help you with muscle memory. You're better off to start something very slow and then slowly speed it up, okay? And that's another great rule of practicing. It really matters how you practice, and you'll find you're so much more successful and you won't get frustrated. And if anybody I'm talking to right now has been frustrated at all in this process, welcome to being a musician. Like, I've been playing for a very, very long time and I still get frustrated sometimes. So I have to be my own best friend. I have to cheer myself on and just not give up. And one day I might not sound so great. And the next day I'm like, that's better. Okay, so you stick to it too. Okay, you ready for Jingle Bells? Here we go. 2 lines. Check it out real fast. The end of the first line, see it? It's just one thin little bar, so we know we're not done. We're looking for the double bar, right? So Jingle Bells is actually 2 lines long. So when we get to the end, we've got to quickly get our eyes down to the next line. And that in itself is a skill too, okay? So if you miss it the first time, back up and try it again. Okay, here we go. Jingle Bells, starting on E. 1, 2, ready, begin. So I hope that went well for you. That's a super fun one to play. And you might have to back up and play that with me a few times till you can get it smooth. The good news is pretty much everybody knows the song. So if you hit a wrong note, your ear's going to probably tell you. So one thing I want you to notice is I want you to compare the top line to the measure that's directly below it. And if you notice both lines, the first measure, exactly the same. Top and bottom line, second measure, same. Third, same. Fourth, same. Fifth, same. Sixth, same. But on the seventh and eighth measure of each line, they're a little bit different. And as you play through, you're probably going to notice that the end of the first line, it doesn't sound finished. We call this the question in a phrase in music, the question. And then the second line is called the answer. And so we have really fancy names for this in music, so just for fun, I'll tell you what it is. You'll never have to remember this until you get to college, but it's called antecedent and consequent. So it just means question and answer, and all good songs have a repetition as its base, and it kind of finishes a line, and it does not sound finished, and we go back and we have some repetition, and then it brings us down kind of up to a home base with our ear. And you're going to notice this now with pretty much almost everything you play from here on out. So one last thing for tonight and for this week is turn the page to page 10. And some of you are already very, very good at this. On line 40, rhythm rap. When we get back from break, we're going to start playing a little quicker notes, the eighth notes. And so in rhythm rap, there are 4 notes that are bracketed together, and they have one bracket holding them together. So we can put pairs of 2 together, but we can also put pairs of 4 together. And they each get a half of a beat. Okay, these are called eighth notes, and each one gets a half a beat. Why do we call them eighth notes? Because a full measure of them would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It would take 8 of them to fill up a measure. Now, when you were little, whoever your general music teacher is, all of our general music teachers at Dunlap would probably have taught you T, 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 ta, ta. And so now that we're older, all we're going to do is take that same exact feeling. We're just going to change what we say to something that's a little more grown up. And by the way, when I learned this, when I was in kindergarten through 3rd, 4th grade, I was taught T, 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 ta, ta also. So it's been around for a long time, so it works good. But we're just going to change it and put numbers in instead now that we're older. So that 41, if we did this, the first 2 measures with our general music teachers when we were little, we would have said T, 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 ta, ta. T, 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 ta, rest. Okay? And different teachers would have maybe had us do this. My teacher used to have us do this with our hands, so we didn't make any sound in the rest. Well, that's a pretty good method. Or I had another teacher who would just have us touch our lips so that we remembered that a rest was quiet. It was silence. So for the video, I'm just going to bring my finger up to my lips. So now our numbers become 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Rest. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Rest. So I hope that makes good sense to you. If it doesn't, you can always show it to your general music teacher, or you can always ask me or ask your teacher when you submit your video for a little extra help with the eighth notes. But they're super fun, and of course now things are going to get more interesting because we can play a lot more stuff when we can add more choices to our rhythms. Have a great week, have a really safe and wonderful break, and I can't wait to see you when you get back. Bye-bye.